I really strongly feel a global movement towards greater understanding of Indigenous people. It opens up an incredible opportunity for a cross-cultural dialogue. My name is Tony Albert. I'm a Guerrero, Yalanji and Kuku Yalanji person, and I am the inaugural Fondation Cartier First Nations Curatorial Fellow at the Biennale of Sydney. So the journey with Fondation Cartier and the Biennale of Sydney, or 14 unique commissions, gave access to really incredible artists thinking really broadly on ideas attached to their indigeneity, their stories. And I really feel that this is an opportunity for an ongoing curatorial fellowship to foster and nurture incredible talent, but also how it can be accessed globally. The artistic directors, Cosmin and Inti, they have these really big visions, and then basically it's the job of the Biennale to make those visions come to life. And really my involvement was to insert best practice into cultural nuances and cultural safety and making sure that the artists had access to everything they needed. So the journal becomes a really important tool in collecting as much information as I could.
I've been thinking about doing this for like almost 15, 20 years, just to make this language accessible to everyone. My name's Daryl Sibasato. I'm a Gularagun Bard man and Noongar from the Dampier Peninsula in the West Kimberley. Traditionally, we're mother-of-pearl carvers. The training we got was from one of the most important lawmen in our people who taught us the regis, that are the symbols from our clan. There's probably only 5 of us that do it consistently out of my people. And that's part of why I want to do this, just to try and reinvigorate it.
This opportunity through the Fondation Cartier gave Daryl the opportunity to push his work to the larger scale.
This particular work is about Galalang, who was our first ancestor that took human form. I'm just using contemporary materials to just position it within the culture we're in now. This sponsorship and commission and support is really important because it just allows the artist and also Biennale to actually present big ideas.
With all these things that are happening with the Biennale, the spaces themselves become very important entities. And in a place like White Bay, which represents so much extraction and utilisation of land from a very abusive point of power, it shows an element of how space and place can completely rechange someone's way of thinking.
August 2018. Welcome to the sample collection CO209. Say the screen in the waiting room. False positive, error, false negative. Family health history. Every time I comb my hair, I see how the time goes by. Me llamo Cristina Flores Pescorán, soy artista de Perú, nací en Lima y mi familia viene de la costa norte del Perú, de Trujillo y de Piura, y estoy participando en la Bienal de Sydney con una obra que se llama Abrazar el Sol. Esta performance es la unión de 3 historias, de momentos que han llegado a mí en búsqueda o como respuesta a estas preguntas de qué puede sanarme o qué es aquello que me enferma. I had been diagnosed with skin cancer. The treatment was exhausting. El tratamiento de quimio que yo recibí era una quimio que tenía que poner sobre todo mi piel todas las noches, casi por 2 años, casi 3 años. También las gasas médicas era lo que me ayudaba también a limpiar parte de este químico, de esta casi masa crema que me ponía en la piel desde los hombros hasta los tobillos. Entonces quise tener una conversación con la gasa médica. Y es así que viene a mí una técnica que es de la técnica de la gasa Chancay, en la que cada punto, cada nudo tiene poderes mágicos y también son una ofrenda también de protección y de cuidado.
I think when we see Costina's weavings, we know and understand her dedication to the weave, her nurturing of herself through health and well-being. It was, a very contemplative practice to be able to sit and watch.
Los tejidos son como una extensión también de este cuerpo en el que me encuentro ahora. Y así los tejidos también van cambiando, así como este cuerpo también va cambiando. Entonces nos estamos transformando juntos.
The artistic director's idea of 10,000 suns brings a heightened awareness to the significance that each of us holds. Each individual artist brings their own story of the sun, our own connection, our own identity, our own belief and ideals. But at the end of the day, there is only one sun, and we all fall under that, and that's what unites us. I've tried to put as many little suns in this journal as possible as a way of piecing it all together.
And you've counted, right? There's 10,000 in there?
Yes. So there's 10,000 suns inside this book.
Y algunas veces me subía a las montañas, a las puntas de estos cerros, y decía, divisaba, ¿no?, el horizonte y decía, algún día tengo que ser algo. Y yo creo tenía esa visión de ser siempre algo en la vida. Mi nombre es Freddy Mamá Silvestre. Yo me considero el creador de la arquitectura neoandino en la ciudad del Alto, pero también llamado los cholets, más conocido ya en el mundo artístico. Entonces, yo vengo de la cultura aymara, soy aymara, yo vengo de una pequeña comunidad que he emigrado a la ciudad del Alto. O sea, el Alto como ciudad no era ciudad, era una pampa, algo así. Después que he salido de mi carrera universitaria, empecé con mi primera obra haciendo y recuperando mis raíces milenarias, como es la arquitectura milenaria esta de Tiahuanaco, con altos relieves, líneas geométricas bastante complejas, e introduciendo los colores encendidos que tenemos en la parte andina amazónica. Y esos dos elementos, esa fusión de esos dos elementos han hecho, digamos, de una arquitectura diferente en la ciudad.
For a while, I didn't really understand the aesthetic being architectural and not visual as an artwork. And the more you uncover work like Freddie, the more you see how architecture can completely rechange someone's way of thinking.
La funcionalidad de estos edificios está un poco más dedicado a lo que es el comercio y también a lo que es el folclore, o sea, la cultura, la danza, todo esto. La obra que tenemos acá representa también lo que es nuestra cultura, la arquitectura transformando a lo que es la danza también. Para mí es un honor mostrar lo que hacemos en Sudamérica.
Through the commissioning process, I was able to work with incredible tribal artists from India. Mangala Bai. It was her first time transferring ceremonial tattoos and body marking onto canvas. It's an incredibly important way of just keeping a cultural tradition alive.
और हमारे पूर्वज जो पीढ़ी दर पीढ़ी से फिर वो आज भी कहते हैं कि मरने के बाद भी गोदना भगवान के घर में जाती है। मोर नाम मंगलाबाई मरावी है और मैं लालपुर गांव से हूँ, डिंडोरी जिला, मध्य प्रदेश। इंडिया से सिडनी यूनिवर्सिटी में आके जो हमने पेंटिंग बनाई है, जिसमें 2 पेंटिंग बनाई है, एक कैनवास पे और एक पेपर पे।
It was lovely for her to have her assistant, Amit, who became someone who could articulate in a very strong way the messages behind Mangala's work.
लेकिन अमित भाई ने काफ़ी बताया कि कर सकते हैं, मैं भी तो साथ में रहूँगा आपके, तो टेंशन लेने की ज़रूरत नहीं है, ऐसे करके। जो बैगा जनजाति के पूरे शरीर में जितने भी गोदना होती है वो हमने पूरा बनाया। हम ये पारंपरिक गोदना या फिर पारंपरिक खेती या पारंपरिक जो भी है, तो वो कल्चर को हम ना भूलें, आगे बढ़ाना चाहती हूँ। भले ही शरीर में ना हो, लेकिन कागज, कैनवास, दीवार ऐसे में तो कम से कम जिंदा रहना चाहिए ये काम।
What happens through these opportunities is you also become aware of the technicalities of getting to a place like Australia, or artists that are travelling for their first time, and Eric represented one of those. So it was a really wonderful experience to be able to support him on that journey.
I feel like my hands know what they're doing before my mind does, and so I let them lead, giving them the credence and the respect that they rightfully deserve. I joke that I make giant pillows for a living. Giant pillows and giant blankets. So in a lot of ways, it's a celebration of the softness around us, almost like this childlike view of the world. I'm from a community called Gallup, and the surrounding reservation. My chapter is the Yambato chapter. My mother and my mother's mother and my mother's mother's mother, they're all fiber artists in their own right, so I learned how to sew at a young age, being a queer kid, playing with dolls and disassembling and reassembling stuffed animals. Kind of led to me being in Australia 30 years later. I work mainly with different hides of sheep, the wools and the yarn. I like kind of having both natural and unnatural materials.
Eric Paul Reed takes on this really beautiful way in which his people adorn their body for ceremony. The performative elements is something that I was kind of instantly driven to. It's important that all those artists felt safe and like they could have their identity on display as part of the festivities.
Welcome to Kaylin TV. My name is Kaylin Whiskey, and I'm from Indolgana, Yuanja, and my family from Indolgana community. And I'm making a Seven Sister movie.
Kayleen came with this very ambitious idea of Kayleen TV. It kind of has this element of escapism. You become the star of the TV show.
Dolly Parton, Tina Turner, Catwoman, Hippie, Wonder Woman, Yaji Bolajana, Kapoliana Kumpiang TV. Together, the Seven Sisters, Min magunbo.
In this kind of fictitious world of black women being able to tell the narrative from their own perspective, works by Kayleen become very powerful. I stress the idea that we are communicating through a visual language, and it becomes a very strong tool. Doreen Chapman is a non-verbal artist and was the only artist actually that crossed every single venue of the Biennale.
My name is Talia Thomas, and Doreen Chapman is my auntie. She was born in Jigalong, but we live out in Warlong community. She loves painting animals mostly. Back in South Headland, in the studio, they showed her pictures of an ATM machine. Then she started painting ATMs. Most people was asking how they can get her paintings. She makes us proud.
The opportunity to have people like Doreen come and visit it, see her work in situ becomes really super important.
Climate change is concerning when nature can't keep up or there becomes an imbalance, and these are the things that concern our community, and as an artist I try to address them in my practice. Yura, Marumba Bigi, my name's Megan Cope. I'm a Nunakal Ngugi woman from Quandamooka country. I work in painting and sculpture.
Someone like Megan Cope became a very interesting conversation. The curatorial vision was through Megan's usage of maps and rechanging language groups.
The mapping practice combines the use of military maps. I seek to decolonise the landscape through the inclusion of language. Our place names are important because they often locate knowledge of country. It was very nice when the Fondation Cartier approached me that they would like to support the making of a painting, something that is reflective of my people. If you look at the lines underneath the map, you'll see that this is the watermark now and this is the future tide line. We don't know when this will happen or even if it will happen, but it's important to kind of de-centre our grip on the land and understand that nature is powerful, Quandamooka is powerful.
First Nations people have cared for country from time immemorial, and these are really important conversations that artists are opening up.
Baba waya mino magi mari, Baba waya mino magi agela, no muniai kaimel ino kubenu kurusisik. Singing that song makes the space feel like I've brought my old people in here with me. We are on the lands of the Gadigal people, and we have to acknowledge that. My name's Gail Mabo. I'm a Meriam, Nawagi and Mumbra person.
One of the projects attached to Fondation Cartier is Baru Gili, which is the projections on the sails of the Opera House. The opportunity presented two artists telling the story of celestial navigation through two very different story places.
It was a holiday that my dad took us when I was 8 to a beach called Werbadu. And he put the sand in our hand and he says, look for the stars. And we were like, what? And he says, look on your hand and look for the stars. Each grain of sand that we looked at was in the shape of a star. And I took that sand to the microscopic labs at Sydney University. And once he showed me I can reproduce it as big as I wanted to, my mind went crazy. what else could you do with it? We're putting projections of Indigenous art onto the Opera House. That's a big thing. Indigenous peoples are the first peoples of this country. We have a right to be shown. The images that you see on there with the bamboo map, it's actually about Tagai, the warrior that travels through the sky that dictates to us when it's time to plant, when it's time to hunt, plus also the season for when we go to gather from the ocean when things are plentiful. It was fantastic to do Barugili with our Maori artist. Her name is Nico.
Nico Hinden looks deeply at celestial navigation within a recreation of a paper which hasn't been utilised in hundreds of years.
Her stories are completely different to my stories, but they still exist in one sky. And so for me, it's a wonderful collaboration of two artists from two completely different areas talk about the sky in which we live under.
So Nico's commission was one of the most successful in being able to bring together all these different partners to see the rekindling of a cultural practice happen before your eyes becomes a really heartening moment.
Tēnā tātou he uri ahau no te hokianga whakapau karakia ko ngā pahi ko te rarawa ngā iwi. The name of this project is Aumoana, which refers to the currents of Te Moana Nui a Kiwa, and we are those currents coming together from Aotearoa, Tonga, Tahiti, Hawaii and Fiji. Ote is a plant that we grow and we nurture and then we transform into cloth. It holds our people, it holds our newborns, and it carries the stories of our ancestors. Our most lasting reference to the bark cloth tradition is through our manu ote, which are our kites. They connect the works, connect all the cloth, and they are our largest expression of how we use ote.
Moana has been an incredible experience to be part of this group of cloth makers from all over Oceania, from all over Moana Nui a Kea.
When we can't speak each other's languages, returning to a visual language that our communities are drawn to and understand has been such a joy.
That's the really powerful thing about this project, is that opportunity to learn and to love each other and to exchange knowledge and kind of help each other grow in each other's practices, but also help us give back to our own communities and our own places.
Nico, I think, was a great example of the new and the old coming together. History is starting to be embedded. Orchidas is a female collective of kite makers. They are one of the very few, and that pushes great boundaries in where they're from. For such a long time, it has been only a cultural practice for men.
Vengo a representar no solo mi pueblo, a Guatemala, con mis trajes de indígena, de mujer indígena. Vengo de un pueblo donde la esencia es lo que miramos.
Hola, mi nombre es María Sara Chicón Rabay. Mi grupo o colectivo se llama Orquídeas Barrileteras. Surgió en 1999. Fuimos uno de los primeros grupos de barriletes de mujeres, conformada puramente de mujeres. Hoy en día ya hay, como allá en Guatemala, poco a poco la mujer se está involucrando en todos los... Ya hemos trascendido pueblos, naciones, no solamente en política, sino que también en arte, porque hay, y hasta aquí estamos trabajando los barriletes. Este es un arte que lo hacemos allá en mi pueblo. Ahí el papel no solo va de una capa, sino que pueden ir hasta 4 o 5 capas. Es un material muy sencillo, sí, pero es de mucho valor para nosotros. No han sido fáciles y 25 chicas trabajando durante 3 meses, noches enteras de trabajo. Muchos me desanimaron, me dijeron, no, ese viaje no va a salir. Pero yo sé que hay un propósito por qué estoy aquí.
John Pillay is such a cultural leader in the story of navigation, particularly within the Pacific and Aotearoa, New Zealand, but an artist and a poet in his own right.
My name is John Taupule. I was born in Niue in a village called Liku. I would say in the past 15, 20 years, I've started looking at words and imagery. So in order to write about the things I want to write about, I had to find out where I come from. And it was from that history of the family that I started to learn about the village I was born in. And then I looked at the material culture of Niue, and that has played a big influence in how I construct my paintings, how I approach them, how I deal with the history, and how do I use words to best describe it. We all have roles to play to talk about Indigenous oceans, Indigenous lands, Indigenous skies.
The idea of the artist imparting knowledge is again one of those fantastic links of global indigeneity and the way in which information is passed on and carried over.
I'm very grateful because when you mention, Cartier, the kind of support that they put into the arts. And so a lot of people would now know where Niue is. And I think for me, that is a huge part that I played in getting Niue out there. How many times must I sing your name to create a marvelous country of hope?
Awana, Ingaengia, Angalendanga, Crystal Lab Johnson Karanaiwa Napananga. I'm a transgender lady. I live the traditional life as a woman. LGBTQ plus brother, boy, sister, girl. We're still being divided by our community. That's why we started this Young Mini Collective. It's about who we are and identity.
So we have Crystal Love, the renowned First Nations drag queen, attacking really huge issues such as mining, land ownership, queerness. These are hard issues that the community are talking about.
When we dream, the spirit actually comes, from the ground, and you have this connection. The Mother Creator was crying out for help to do something for our land and for our community. The butt plug, it represents what do we do to Mother Earth? We're shoving all that shit up her, and then when we pull it out, she doesn't have any release. We as human beings, we messed the planet up. It's about power of the mouth, the power of your whole, power of your body, and power of the people. It was a 2-year process, and Biennale gave us a platform to be where we are today. They put their faith into us and make us part of something. If one person make a change, then everybody follows.
One of the exciting curatorial opportunities for me was the Biennale happening at the same time as Mardi Gras here in Sydney. So we were able to have a float for the first time ever with the involvement of Younger Mini, but also Dylan Mooney, and Dylan was working with the archives of Malcolm Cole. So the Mardi Gras was this perfect forum to tell this story.
Malcolm Cole actually dressed up as Captain Cook and put the first Indigenous float in the Mardi Gras in 1988. So the work that I've created is about his story and also his legacy that he's left behind as well. My name's Dylan Mooney. I'm a proud Yui man from Mackay up in North Queensland. I'm also Torres Strait Islander. I come from Darnley Island in the Eastern Islands, and on my father's side, I'm South Sea Islander, and we come from the Solomon Islands and Vanuatu. And I'm a practicing artist based on contemporain country. My work focuses on giving representation and telling stories where stories may not have been told. I think without those stories, there is no foundation to my work. There's no sincerity or truth-telling.
I'm here in Sydney to recreate Malcolm's Captain Cook journey. Malcolm was more than just an Aboriginal Torres Strait Islander, South Sea Island gay black man. Malcolm was someone that we looked up to. His story needed to be told.
I first went to Robert's house last year to start having a yarn and just listening to Robert speak about Malcolm and, you know, his journey through life and, you know, going back and really trying to put that into my work. Using a lot of bright colours, native plants. Yeah, I really am talking about that celebration, that joy, and hoping that other black queer people can connect. Back in 1988, there wasn't much representation. So we've had to create our own spaces for ourselves and others alike. And, you know, we're still here. We are thriving. You know, we are strong and beautiful peoples, and, you know, we have come a long way.
For me, everything I'd wanted to do was to lay the foundation for a really strong, ongoing partnership and relationship between the Biennale of Sydney, the Fondation Cartier, and the incredible access we have to Black excellence in this country. In the aftermath of this, other people are able to take on these opportunities and run with it their way and insert their own uniqueness and values of our people within this international framework of contemporary art.